Hello, this is Durant at VeniceForVisitors.com. I'm shooting this video in Venice, Italy, using the DJI Osmo Pocket, which I bought several weeks ago, shortly after its release, to use in shooting a series of videos for our website, VeniceForVisitors.com, and more specifically, for the short videos on our site called VeniceHotelDirections.com, which is a subset of Venice for Visitors. I'm using the DJI Osmo Pocket to replace my former combination of the DJI Osmo Mobile and smartphone. I think the results are comparable. And the advantage of this, of course, is it's much smaller, easy to use, easy to carry. Instead of filling up half my backpack, it fills the pocket. Now today I'm going to show you footage that I've taken around Venice under various conditions, gloomy days, harsh, bright days, all kinds of conditions, and you can get an idea of whether you think this would work for you. And at the end I'll give some observations. But for now, let's just go and take a walk around Venice. I should add that I'm using automated settings. I'm not using the Osmo Pocket plugged into my phone. I'm just using it as a freestanding handheld device. One thing I've learned from using this device in the flip or selfie mode is that I'm not cut out to be a blogger. If I look shifty-eyed, it's because I'm trying to avoid tripping on bridges, stepping in the occasional dog poop, or falling into a canal. I'm going down a bridge right now, so my eyes are on my feet and on the steps. I'd like to comment on the audio of this DJI Osmo Pocket. I'm not using my lavalier microphone because I don't have the accessory yet. I'm just talking into the microphone on the selfie or control side of the device. The Pocket Osmo has two mics, two little holes, supposed to cover all the bases, I guess. And I've been pretty impressed by the quality of the audio from the internal mics. And as much as I look forward to using my lavalier mic as soon as I can, I've got to say this is a lot better than recording on my phone with the Osmo Mobile. The sound really is not bad. Now we're approaching the Accademia Bridge. This is one of four bridges across the Grand Canal in Venice. It was completely rebuilt, at least heavily refurbished, fairly recently. And it has new livery, if you want to call it that, new color scheme. Very attractive. Lots of wood and sort of greenish girders, steel girders to provide extra structural support. I'm taking this footage from Venice's Accademia Bridge using the built-in microphone on the DJI Osmo Pocket, or Pocket Osmo. It's a cloudy day, not quite drizzly, and the lighting looks pretty good here on the screen. A lot of activity on the bridge for a January day. A cute dog coming toward us. I'm not sure what sort of dog that is, but look at all that hair. One thing I've noticed about this camera is that it does very well on cloudy days, but in the bright sun, especially the bright winter sun, which comes in at a low angle, there's a certain amount of lens flare, and things get a bit washed out. But on a day like this, I think it's going to do very well. This is always an interesting sight in Venice. It's the Square di San Travaso, a boatyard where gondolas are built and maintained. This is January, and a lot of gondoliers, since they're not that busy, they bring their boats in for maintenance and repairs. This boat looks like it's being floated out after some work. It's pretty stripped down, doesn't have the seating and internal decking and so forth. The boat is about to go by, or a barge. It makes quite a bit of noise from its engine. Let's see if I can be heard over the engine as it goes by with the built-in mic. Here comes the barge, and I'm still talking. And unlike a lot of barges, there's no dog on this one. A lot of times you'll see a dog on the barge in Venice, or a boat. Venetians do love their dogs. I'm shooting this scene at the San Marco Giardinetti Vaporetto and airport boat stop. You can see gondolas and all kinds of water activity. It's a foggy day right now. It's getting kind of misty. Can you hear the slapping of the gondola hulls in the water? And ahead of us here we have a sort of portico, or a small tunnel. And we go into it to see how the camera performs. It's very dark in here. I've been shooting 4K 30 megabits, and the Osmo is getting kind of lukewarm. It's certainly not hot. On a day like today, I was kind of hoping it might be a little hotter. Keep my hand warm. This building here is Venice's former general post office. It was built back in, I believe, the 15th century for German merchants. Kind of a trading post for German merchants. It was called the Fondaco dei Tedeschi. Today it's a shopping mall, a very luxury shopping mall. Lots of fancy brands and an upscale restaurant. And my wife once saw a rat running along the front of the building, so it must have been a very upmarket rat. You can see a spazzino, or trash collector and street sweeper, wearing a very colorful, reflective green outfit. They have these aluminum carts, which are very lightweight, and they hump them over the bridges. And they take them to barges, which have cranes that lift them up, and the bottom of the cart opens up and the garbage falls into the barge. Okay, this should be a really good test of lens flare and performance under bright, contrasty conditions. We have an incredible amount of glare coming off the Cannaregio Canal here. I'm taking this from the Ponte di Giulia, which is one of the busier bridges in Venice, and now there's a water bus coming toward us, a motoscafo. We'll see if we can even see the boat as it comes up closer. Also a gondola down here. Well, I just walked across the bridge, and this should be much better because now the sun is at my back. We have some shadows, but a blue sky, lots of boats, fish markets under the red. You can see the red awning there, right? There's a fish market that's there every morning. Here's some more footage shot in mixed light. This is 1080p, 30 megabits. Down sort of near the railroad station. You can see the souvenir shops and big church behind. A lot of people. I'm trying some night photography now. This square and church look fairly decent on my little tiny screen. We'll see how it looks when it's on my computer. Obviously this camera's not going to work well in the really dark places, but seems to be doing okay here. And here, as we walk toward the railroad station, you can see the Christmas lights. And they look pretty good on the screen as far as I can tell. And this shop window, this pasticceria pastry shop window, you can see fratelle, which are a kind of fritter that they make during Carnival in Venice. And they usually jump the gun and start in January and often keep going until sometime in March. We're now getting close to the Rialto Bridge and a series of waterside restaurants that are very popular with tourists. Beyond the restaurant, you can just see the Rialto Bridge. In the main tourist season, the Rialto Bridge can be mobbed with visitors. But right now it's pretty quiet, just a few people up at the top looking at the canal. Up the steps here to the top. And I'm going to look over the side here to get a picture of the Vaporetto going by. The Rialto Bridge is at the center of Venice. It has one of the busiest complexes of water bus station. There are puntili, or floating platforms, lined all the way along this stretch of the Grand Canal. And now another Vaporetto stop, Cadoro. Boat just came in. You hear the engines rumbling. Quite a few people coming off the boat at this hour of the night. And now the boat is getting ready to leave. Now we will watch it go. And there goes the Vaporetto on its way to the Rialto Bridge, San Marco, and points beyond. Coming back to the Grand Canal at another location. We're arriving at a gondola station, I guess you'd call it, gondola pier. All the gondolas are covered in blue tarps for the night and put to bed. And thanks to this bright street lamp overhead, it doesn't look too bad at night. Now I'm taking some shots here in the Venice Santa Lucia train station. Kind of a mixture of shadow and glare. We'll see how that goes. Lots of shopping action here in the station. We'll see how that looks. And now here we are, another day. I think the light conditions are a lot better today than were yesterday. Less backlighting. The sky is not sunny. So it's more uniform light. Down here at street level isn't so shadowy. And we have a dog barking in the background. Some gondolas. Again, this is a kind of a gray day. And the colors look pretty good on the little screen. One thing I would like to see would be a wrist loop for the bottom of the camera. The case has a wrist loop, but the camera doesn't. And if I were to fall down one of those bridges and kill myself, I'd like my next of kin to have a working camera as a consolation prize. This is one of the bigger gondola basins in Venice. It's just north of the Piazza San Marco. At nighttime it's packed with parked gondolas. But during the daytime you can catch boats from here too. You just take a ride for 40 or 50 minutes. And directly ahead of us is the Basilica di San Marco. It's getting close to noon, so you can hear bells ringing. You'll see some pigeons. In the old days, not so many years ago, you could buy pigeon food and feed it to the pigeons, and just be hundreds and hundreds of pigeons. You could lie down and they would crawl over you if you were so inclined. I've seen people do that. But a few years ago they outlawed the sale of pigeon food and started putting out food with birth control chemicals or drugs in the food and trying to reduce the pigeon population. Directly ahead of us is the Doge's Palace, which was the seat of government in the heyday of the Venetian Republic. This is kind of a murky day. It started out with a blue sky, high contrast. Now it's getting kind of gloomy. On the screen here, everything is looking a little dark here at ground level, probably because of all that gray sky. This camera's not the greatest at backlit situations, I'm finding. And here we have the headquarters of the Venice branch of the now defunct, I thought, Italian Communist Party, next to a shrine with a picture of Jesus. This is the Via Garibaldi, one of the wider streets in Venice. It's a former canal that's been filled in called the Rio Terra. And it's a good test of the camera's ability to cope with extremes of shadow and light. We're now standing on a bridge on our way to San Pietro, a neighborhood of Venice that's noted for boat yards, and it even has a little private naval academy. But most importantly, it has that church, you can see, Off to the right, the White Tower and the dome to the right, which is the Church of San Pietro, which was the Cathedral of Venice from about the 16th to the 19th centuries. Walking along a quiet neighborhood street in San Pietro. Curious to see how bouncy this will look. I'm not doing my ninja walk, I'm just walking along in my usual heavy footfall style. And let's take a short walk down to the entrance to the church. This little pedestrian path has benches spaced along it, so nice place to sit on a sunny day. Now we'll continue to walk through San Pietro, following the lady in the purple hat. Now we're looking at the walls of the Arson Alley. This was the shipyard that, in the heyday of the Venetian Republic, manufactured up to a ship a day. And the ships traded and conquered cities all over the Mediterranean and points east. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon in January, and the light is starting to go. It's getting pretty dim. So I think we'll be calling it quits. But first, a boat goes by. This is a boat of the Carabinieri, one of the Italian police forces. Back on the Via Garibaldi in the late afternoon. It seems that the dogs are out taking naps, just lying around this area. There's a lot of dogs. And again, there's no cars, so they can just lie around and not worry about getting run over. Pretty soon, Mommy will come out, right? Here we are on the Venice Waterfront. Late afternoon light. No zoom, so I'm kind of limited in what I can show. If I had to zoom, I could zoom in on that boat, but no such luck. And over here, there's a carnival set up on the waterfront. Various rides. We've seen the carnival being set up. A barge brings these big trucks up to the waterfront here above Piazza San Marco. The trucks are rolled off drive off the barge. They put down planks for them to drive on to protect the pavement. And then they unpack the trucks on shore and set up these rides. You can see the rides here are sitting on wooden blocks. A thrill ride for 3-year-olds. L'Incantesimo del Lago. A game of skill. The girl seems to be trying to catch a duck with a stick. And here we're looking at the Doge's Palace on our right. Up ahead is the Piazzetta, which is the sort of connector between the waterfront and the Piazza San Marco, or St. Mark's Square. I'm going to go up here and turn right when I reach the Piazzetta. You can see lights into the arches across the way. Those are Christmas lights. Christmas lights will remain here until and maybe during Carnival, which begins in late February. Here's the Campos Santa Margherita in 4K, 30 megabits. This is the entry courtyard of a hotel on the Campos Santa Margherita. The staircase leads up to the reception. And here's a nice 4K view of a canal from a bridge in Dorsoduro. This is the hospital emergency entrance. An ambulance just came in. And you can see a green light up here. Now, often when they bring the patient through, the light will turn from yellow to red, and a shutter will come down to shield the patient from the elements and presumably from passersby. The patient is being rolled in to the hospital. And now the shutter goes up and we can go through. And here we are on February 7th. Sunny day, weekday. More boats than usual in the spin. You can see a number 2 Vaporetto coming down the Grand Canal to the Accademia Bridge, which is where I'm standing. On the other side of the Accademia Bridge, where the Vaporetto should be emerging shortly. Water looks very green today. Again, we have shadow on the left, sun on the right. This is a line 12 motonave, or water bus, going to Murano, Burano, and other points in the Venetian Lagoon. It used to be known as the LN or Lagoon North Line. And these boats are much larger than the regular city water buses. And here comes a water ambulance on the way to pick up somebody who's having an emergency. And that is the Tower of San Francesco della Vigna. One thing I've noticed about the DJI Osmo Pocket that kind of annoys me is the fact that the buttons don't have a lot of tactile feedback. For example, there have been a few times when I pressed the red record button and the device didn't actually begin recording. And a few other occasions, more than a few really, I pressed the mode button twice to recenter the device, and it switched it from video into still mode. And next time I thought I was shooting a video, I was actually shooting a single JPEG image. Now, all you have to do to avoid that is pay attention and have reasonably good eyes, because when you're shooting video, the screen is going to be narrower from top to bottom. You're in that 16:9 ratio. And also you'll see a flashing red light in the lower left corner of the display to remind you that you are indeed shooting video. I should make a comment about battery life. This thing works pretty well. It's supposedly good for 2 hours or a little more. I think at 4K it's probably just about 2 hours. I haven't timed it, but I have had the battery run out a few times, 2 or 3 times in the 3 weeks or so I've been using this. On days when I've been out doing a lot of video footage, all of a sudden a little picture of a battery looks empty, and boom, about 5-10 minutes later it's done for the day. And I always tell myself I should remember to bring along my little power bank, but I never do. This wall on the Calle Stella in Cannaregio is a beautiful example of a Venetian wall. You can see stucco, different eras, plaster that's falling off. No brick on this one, but the colors are beautiful. Today we're standing on the Punta della Dogana in Dorsoduro across from St. Mark's Square. And if you see the yellow boat coming out, that's the Alla Laguna Blue Line boat. It just came from Marco Polo Airport. It's going to come around the tip of Dorsoduro here and go down the Giudecca Canal, where ultimately it will arrive at the Venice Marittima cruise terminals. In the U-shaped boat basin there's a landing for the Alla Laguna boat. So if you're on a cruise ship, you can actually go directly to the ship on Alla Laguna. Good test of a dynamic range. We have gondolas in the foreground. The other side of the Grand Canal is extremely bright. I'm standing on the Accademia Bridge right now, over the Grand Canal, and directly below us you can see two barges, actually three, but two in the foreground. The one on the left is filled with pilings, which are used for boat moorings and navigation markers. As I walk along this fondamenta in San Pietro, I will take a moment to just talk about what I think about the DJI Osmo after using it for about 2 weeks in Venice. Again, I'm not a vlogger, I'm not a professional videographer, not even really an amateur videographer. I do video now and then, I shoot video when I need to. I have no intention of being a YouTube star or producing features for the Travel Channel. What I can tell you is that for my purposes, this device is amazing. I'm going to like it even better when I get a few accessories such as the neutral density filters for bright sunshine and the 3.5mm jack for my lavalier microphone. I think it sounds pretty good as it is, but that's going to really be a game changer, I think. And in fact, the device itself has been called a game changer, and it really is. It's far more convenient than using the DJI Osmo Mobile with a phone to shoot video or a regular video camera. As you can see, if you're a vlogger or somebody else who wants to talk into your camera, lens face your camera, this is a great device. And again, the price, $345 US. It's just amazing. They've already done 2 firmware updates since the device came out in December, and this is late January. I'd say the main weaknesses of this device are an extreme light, extremes of light and shadows. It doesn't work so well. Then again, I'm not sure my phone does either. I really do think this is a worthwhile investment. And if you're thinking of buying one, don't hold back. If you'd like to see our Venice hotel directions, go to VeniceHotelDirections.com. If you're planning a trip to Venice, Italy, see VeniceForVisitors.com.